Look at this. It's like travelling 10 years into the past with a single step. Oddly satisfying. I'll never forget how challenging it was to obtain this simple sketch. Oh, these must be the notes of my earliest observations. We wanted to locate a particular dog we'd spotted, and we met it, didn't we? Need to repeat this one day, but with bullets.
Coal dust from Miner's End, sandy dirt from the old city. We scoured the island top to bottom for these soil samples.
Cannot believe all my toys are still here.
Hey, they were not just yours, they were half mine too.
An artifact from Palau carved out of bone and claimed to be 300 years old. My mother proved it was a fake. My very favourite plaything. It was the perfect pirate treasure.
This time I was first to pick beds. This one's mine now.
A magnificent tool made for a spurious purpose, staring into the sky. I've definitely found a better use for it.
You mean for spying on people?
Interesting. What's that over there? This doorknob has a cross-shaped end. Too intricate to be merely a handle.
You know what? That definitely looks like a key. Let's poke around and see if we can find any secrets.
The only fiction book on my table. I can still hear my mother reading it to me. So many pleasant evenings were spent here with the Encyclopedia Americana. Look at this, John. Remember how desperately I wanted to learn the violin? I never had a proper opportunity.
Such a shame. I always hated
The first
rule
chemical
about being
laboratory I
silent
ever
in
made.
this place.
I almost miss its elegant simplicity. Perfect match. My small archive of crime clippings. Maybe I should pick up this habit again. Still has a faint odour of tobacco, one of the few things on this island that smell like home. Still has a faint odour of tobacco, one of the few things on this island that smell like home. Made of cherry wood, Father's favourite.
I knew you'd find it in no time. Oh, it reminds me of our neighbour. He had the same balloon in his yard, only bigger. Do you remember?
Yes, we visited him several times while living here.
Wasn't that neighbour missing a finger?
That does sound vaguely familiar. Wasn't his name, Theodore? Theodore Gilden, perhaps?
It's the perfect time to investigate.
That wretch Goliath would murder us all. Mark my words.
Who's it? What's happened? Who is it?
As if they were struck by a battering ram.
I wonder how we managed not to hear any of this.
Destruction and trampled ground. Oof, a contortionist you were not. Disjointed vertebrae. Difficult to say if it was a way to start or finish him off. A belt from a dressing gown. Curious. A kneecap reduced to splinters. A missing pinky, middle-aged. It's none other than Theodore Gilden.
Oh boy, Sherlock. Another death means another question.
And we shall answer the question. It's far too interesting to give it up to the police. A royal suite for a favourite pet.
Plenty of food to satisfy even the most fastidious.
A pool of blood and saliva, possibly as a result of impact. A strong pull broke this leash.
Poke the elephant with this? Really? People are hopeless. Sherlock, take a picture of the footprint. It's valuable evidence. This photograph can help us find the old article about the elephants. The front page was fascinating. It was hard to believe as a child.
True. We may need it in our investigation. A coal gas tank, enough to pump up an airship. A sailor's knife, useful for cutting wet and thick ropes. It's seen a lot of use. The blade is worn from grinding. Fresh signs of impact. A rough landing led to an altercation with this shed. In a fit of rage, the elephant broke the chain and threw its victim on the ground with a fierce power. Escaping the scene, it pulled the body with it, but dropped it at the gate. At least some of this was witnessed by a third party who was hurled against the shed. The elephant can't have gone too far. I can still track it.
I suppose you find it. Then what? Push it all the way back to the manor?
Hog heaven. May I ask you something?
That's a question I can answer.
It's hot today, isn't it?
Who is it?
Hello.
Ne haber?
The elephant barged into this cart of olive oil.
What if we're lucky and he slipped and fell somewhere along the way?
Merhaba. Bugün kendimi pek iyi hissetmiyorum.
Excuse me, just one question.
Why should I care about your troubles when you don't care about mine?
Okay, hear me out. If an elephant falls in the forest and there's no one around to...
John, no.
Oh, you're such a killjoy.
Strange. It was hung with care. The game has escaped us for now. We'll find a solution to the elephant problem later.
Want to go for a swim?
You. Who are you?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. Theodore Gilden was...
Did you kill him? Did you kill the elephant?
It's not in the yard anymore. It escaped into the forest.
You can't let it go. What if it returns?
I highly doubt that, Miss...
Imogen Gilden. Please, I beg of you, find that dreadful beast that killed my father.
I suppose we do need to learn what happened. Can you tell me what happened? From the very start.
I was here, so I didn't see how it began. My father visits the enclosure every morning to wake up Goliath. Today, I heard the elephant scream. I've never heard such a horrifying sound. My heart stopped. I knew something was wrong. I looked through my window and saw how it lifted my father up by his neck. I rushed downstairs. I saw it dragging my father as if he were a doll. I threw stones at it. It dropped my father's body and charged outside, screaming. Its roar was almost human. I was frightened, so I ran inside and hid here.
Well, it was the most probable outcome, living with a giant wild animal such as that.
How can you be so cold? Goliath murdered my father, Mr. Holmes. He mustn't be allowed to get away with it.
Well, thank you for the information, Miss Gilden. I did have some questions for your father. Perhaps you might help me with them?
I wasn't privy to much of my father's life, and it's very hard to think of anything at all with Goliath still loose. Please, Mr. Holmes.
Very well. Do you mind if I ask you more questions if I find anything that might help?
Anything to catch that monster.
Miss Gilden, I was on this island 10 years ago, and your father knew my mother. I believe I even had the opportunity to ride that balloon outside, but I do not recall seeing you.
I lived at my late mother's in Sheffield at the time. I'm in no spirit to reminisce right now. The elephant is out there.
You've never heard the name Violet Holmes before? Perhaps your father...
Please, Mr. Holmes. With that beast roaming free, I can't think of anything.
Very well. I have to leave you for now. False idols? Oh, sounds utterly dreary. She packed as much as she could carry. The same dull poses on all romantic photographs. So idyllic. Enjoy your happily ever after before it stales.
Hey, Sherry, we need to talk. You found false idols. We need to find the remaining two.
What does bazooka even mean? Would this paper be good for anything but blowing one's nose on?
They're not rubbish, Sherry. There's something more. I'm serious.
Very well. I doubt it'll be worth it, but I will find them for you, John.
You'll thank me later. They're some of the most imaginative books I've ever read.
What did you say?
Speaking aloud helps me think.